Hello, friends. Welcome here. Today, I want to discuss court interpreting roles and your perception with court roles relating to interpreting. So, I want to examine how those roles in court relate to interpreting and how that can influence the court's ruling in hearings. And so, this is how you can influence their viewpoint along with the rest of the people involved. Because sometimes you can and sometimes you don't. So I'm a lawyer, and I've been a lawyer for over 20 years now. So my view is often influenced from the court's point of view. So I was here at Street Leverage last year, 2 years ago, and I wanted to talk about the concept of a deaf heart. And the concept of supporting the deaf community and caring about deaf people. And I agree. Some of my best friends are deaf, but that's not my point. My point is the system, the judicial system, and the established rules that we're all supposed to follow. But sometimes those rules can come in conflict with supporting deaf people and caring about deaf people. And I struggle between the court system and the deaf community as to who would win in that balance. And that's usually the court system that wins. And my conflict is that I've always tried to support deaf people and be an advocate for them through uh, the court interpreting. So here's this list. So I support all three of those, and my thinking and my concern is, for example, in 2013, when I was talking about how interpreters need to put aside their pride and their ego and go ahead and fight for what's right. That means that interpreters themselves have to decide for what's right and make the decision for what's the right thing to do. So I support that, but I also support the courts, and so that causes a little bit of conflict. So I read an article talking about interpreting certifications and interpreting training, and it sometimes requires uh, deaf people wouldn't work with interpreters who are younger. Or David Kane last year was here, well, not here, but at a different uh, meeting, and he was talking about social justice and its relationship with interpreting. So you have these different groups: deaf, hearing, and other interpreters. And his point was that interpreters uh, are first when it comes to connecting with the deaf community. And I agree, it's important to support interpreters, but how do we do that the best? Because if we put them as the priority, it will mess up with deaf rights and their ability to, um, properly get a proper experience out of the court system. So here in 2013, he's talking about interpreters, and he didn't realize this, but he hadn't meant to, cast aside the deaf community. Uh, so social disempowerment, and that's kind of my point, is that we have to try and support deaf rights and support uh, the deaf community, and it's wrong to try and just cast them aside. And here's some examples. Here's a story. Some have told me, and others have let me know. And I think, yeah, that's it. Okay.